It's the equipoise that kicks in.
It can kick in some more. It can kick in some more.
Good evening.
I remember sending the first updates to Blayne this Wednesday, and I took the first half of the dose on like Monday or Sunday, and literally within those like 3 days, the first updates I sent him, immediately I'm happy. I'm like, I'm rounder, I'm fuller. It's just like, fuck. You just feel like a beast when you're on this stuff, dude. Yes, dude. It's tough to speak negatively about this stuff because I'm so trying to like be like, stay healthy, and then I try this stuff and I'm like, yes, boys, I have no idea what to tell you about this.
Oh, really, that's too funny. Achmat, what's happening?
What's happening, fellas?
You good?
No, good, all good. What's happening?
Not too much. So today, I was in at the Move in Sunninghill, the gym, Move Motion or whatever. I went to go train with that. I don't know if you guys know Chris the Clack.
Mm-hmm.
He's a heavy, like super heavyweight. He competes in the NPC and stuff.
Wow.
So anyway, we were speaking on Instagram, and he's like, "Yeah, come join me for a session. We'll do some content or whatever." So I'm like, "Yeah, that'll be sick." And I trained legs on Monday, and I get there, and he's like, "Yeah, okay, so we're gonna train legs today." Holy fuck! That broke me in half. Like I couldn't. Fucking hell. First of all, I normally train for an hour maximum. Bro, I look at the time. It's been like hour 45 minutes, and he's like, "Okay, next we're gonna do this," and he names like 3 exercises. And I look at this guy. I'm like, "Fuck, bro, I'm out of here. Not a chance." No, but the thing is, I was gonna catch the traffic back from Joburg, so I was like, "No, I'm out." But yeah, so that was pretty sick. But actually, I don't know where Blayne is. He says that. Let's just check here. He still says that his lights are on. I don't know. Let's see what happens. But actually, Achmat, I wanted to say that. Do you remember what we spoke about on the last podcast?
We spoke about a lot of things.
with regards to what we wanted to speak about on this one, that's actually what I wanted to get into. You know, and maybe spend some time on that. It's just about we spoke about the different federations and all that stuff. You know, so I thought if you want to get into that, I think that would be quite cool, especially now that Miki's here and he's so heavily involved in the IBFF.
He's the president. What do you mean heavily involved? He's the president.
He's the main man.
What's that? So yeah, we can have a chat about that. Let's start there with IBFF, the criterias. Just give us I don't say introduction, but
an overview.
Yeah, so well, actually, then it'd probably be best that we ask Miki. I mean, let's say for the guys that don't know, because I mean, a lot of guys obviously haven't competed in both or more than one federation or whatever it is. What how do I ask this question? I guess I asked it. What's the biggest difference between obviously the NPC or IFBB and the IBFF when it comes to posing, when it comes to, you know, look, I know what the difference is when it comes to hosting the shows because I've been to both, and look, you can't really compare the two, to be honest with you. Every IBFF show I've been to has been amazing, absolutely amazing. But the NPC shows in SA, look, I've got a few things to say about that.
Yeah, we're gonna get there.
Yeah, we're gonna get there. But yeah, Miki, so what's the so let's actually get into this. So for instance, what's the difference in categories? Because, you know, obviously NPC is like physique, it's all the normal stuff, you know, physique, classic physique, and then bodybuilding. But now there's obviously a hell of a lot more divisions, and especially like in that athletic physique, you know, so just maybe run us through all that stuff.
Look, for me personally, there's not much difference. It's just some federations name their categories totally different. You understand? So that's what makes the athletes confused as well. So if the coaches can know, look here, I know the criteria of the IBF, I know the criteria of the NPC, I know the criteria of this federation and that federation, then I would say then the athletes don't have any excuses. But according to bodybuilding say bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Means it's totally a little bit different. Like the criteria is totally different. And there's a lot of changes that's every year comes into the federations. Like in the Arnold's Federation, not the IBF, not the NPC.
Just the IFBB.
IBB elite.
Elite, yeah.
Yeah, so the IFBB elite there's two physiques. There's muscle physique, and then there's men's physique. So a lot of athletes get confused between the two of those. So muscular physique is more fuller and harder, and the men's physique is more like more definition, more shredded, and you must not be fuller. You can't have like rounder shoulders or bigger chest or massive back. So which I don't understand. So in the IBFF they want both again.
Yeah.
You understand? So they actually want both of those. And in the NPC as well, they want actually both as well. So there's not much difference, but there's a massive difference in the posing as well. Your back pose and your, yeah, mainly the back pose. In the Elite Pro, your hand must be on your hip and your one foot needs to be slightly on your toes. You must be on your toes slightly and show your core. You see, by IBFF, your hands don't need to be on your hip. And NPC, your hands don't need to be on your hip as well. So there's a massive difference into men's physique.
Yeah.
And basically classic physique stays classic physique. But it's just in some federations, they don't do the posing criteria like how can I say, not guest posing, your normal poses.
Oh, your mandatory poses.
Yes. So not your mandatory poses, like your normal routine.
Oh yeah.
You see, but I don't know why they're not. Actually, I see this in every federation, not just the IBFF, in the NPC as well, and the elite pros. They don't do anymore your T-Hawks and stuff like that. Those, because back then, I'm not sure if Achmat knows about it. Back then, that is normally very important because you get pointed to that as well. Like the bodybuilding, you do your mandatory poses, your side, your back, your whatever poses, and then you do your main posing, like your TO. So sometimes your TO back then your TO was counted in. You see, yeah. So nowadays a lot of athletes, they want to do their TOs, but they can't. But it's they just want the shows to go quick and done and get it over, which is quite sad because there's a lot of athletes that can pose really very good.
As far as I understand on that, it's like that's when it comes to IFBB, the elite, and PCA still does that, but they change it from the T walk to an I walk. So I don't know if it's any different between the T walk and the I walk. I think I walk is just obviously to the front of the stage, to your full on circle and then head back instead of going to the side. So I think just looking at the criteria when it comes to, we can start at, like, I don't really want to speak about other federations. I actually want you to touch more on IBFF's, how their criteria and stuff work. But as far as I see, and obviously I worked with Zane last year to do a men's physique show, because I haven't really worked with much men's physique guys, to be honest with you. So just had one other men's physique guy in 2018. That was in IFBB Elite. That was before NPC came, so that was actually the main IFBB at that time. At that time, they were also just doing just the normal T walks, and as far as I know and understand, there's no really much difference in that now. It's just obviously from naming it from T walk, they now named it I walk, instead of dragging it out for athletes to go both sides of the stage. They just go to the center, do their little routine in the middle, and then head back. That's what I understand. Because I mean, when it comes to PCA, this was where I was confused. Like last year, I only started working with Zayn after Titans, and he won his category, and he won overalls at Titans. And just sitting in the crowd and looking at him, how his physique looked, he was a little soft, and to be honest, and like, I mean, compared to some of the other guys, especially when it came to the overalls. When I asked him for feedback after Titans, because obviously I started working with him then, even though we had the main goal of, listen, we're gonna look at working for Classic. We were still gonna do a men's physique show on the way to the eye candy show that we had planned last year, and he said no. The judges were happy with his conditioning. He could come in a little bit tighter, but they don't want full hard striated guys in their men's physique. They want a more model look. We did that. We brought that to essays. Obviously, when he started working with me, the man just blew up. Like in the first few weeks, he just blew up. It's just funny. Whoever I work with, they just immediately in the first 2-3 weeks, they just get full and round. I don't know what it is. So yeah, I saw again. Listen, we need to bring. We decided, listen, we're gonna bring this guy flat to stage, and that's what we did. Everything went according to plan. It just didn't transpire under the lights. Obviously, when you're a bit flat, you look soft, you look watery. And that just didn't transpire under the lights. I don't know, he did something with his oiling as well. I think he put some baby oil on, which even made it worse. So, but that, with that being not even the question, like the guys who won, they were freaking hard. They were dry. They were round. They were full. So I was very confused. But then also, it was a complete different judging panel from Titans to the essays. I was like, but this doesn't make sense, man. And I didn't really understand it. I spoke to a judge that was at Titans, and he was also like, so he didn't know really how to answer me because he wasn't there on the day, obviously, and he could only talk of pictures. He himself didn't. He said he didn't agree with the way our judging went. He didn't be specific on why and how. He did just mention that things, yeah, like men's physique thing was supposed to be like a model type of look thing, and because then he more focused on us how the classic physique thing goes. And I showed him pictures of how Zayn looked at the eye candy, and he was a bodybuilder compared to what he was like 12 weeks before that. I think Hugo must have seen him. He had bigger legs, he had striated legs. Yes, he could have been harder and a bit leaner, but obviously he had to balance that fullness and hardness look. So we brought the best look for him on the day. And when he looked at the pictures, like, wow, this guy is no longer a men's physique guy, he's a bodybuilder.
But yeah. But
So, yeah.
It's actually a good question. I think, what do you guys think? Do you think that the physique division in like Olympia, we talk about the Olympia, talk about NPC, maybe even the IBFF, but do you think the guys are getting too big?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the guys that are winning now, with like their top 3, top 5, whatever, they're ginormous. You know what I mean? Like they're like classic guys just wearing, with no legs. Well, some of them with no legs. That's it. It's like,
The one
what do you guys
thing
think?
I gotta say is that, especially with Aaron Banks becoming the new champ of men's physique.
Yeah.
I'm going to say straight up that I am not a massive fan of Aaron Banks as a person and the way that he sometimes portrays himself. But, and this is hard for me to say because I'm actually a very big Brandon Hendrickson fan. But in terms of what I envision in my head a men's physique guy should look like, I gotta say, I think I prefer Aaron because Aaron is not as big as Brandon. Brandon is wide. When he opens up in that front relax, his lats just flare. The shoulders are wide, the arms are huge, the upper body is massive. But Aaron's not a small guy. He's very muscular, extremely conditioned, but he's very streamlined. In my opinion, when I look at men's physique, I think of a guy with a giant chest, massive shoulders, really good arms, very not a thick, a very well shaped and created, sculpted back. But the big thing for me is like the waist. That waist has to be snitch small. Like Classic has nothing in terms of small waist against men's physique. Men's physique, you need to naturally, literally just open up. Whether you have muscle or not, if you turn to the side and you twist your waist, it needs to basically disappear. So then saying like, let's just add on more mass, more mass, more mass. It's taking away the whole idea of that. I don't need to hit a front double bicep or a back double bicep or a front lat spread to show you that I'm big. All I need to do is I just need to stand and look big, but at the same time, I'm not expecting you to be this absolutely gargantuan, big, massive guy. Like I like more of a streamlined physique for men's physique because that's what I see. You need to make that little bit of a separation between the categories that you can say, okay, this is body. How many times have people actually said, oh yeah, this guy shows up backstage and they're like, oh, are you doing bodybuilding? And he's like, no, I'm doing men's physique.
Oh my God, bro. I've got a few stories about that.
Like, how many times does that happen? It's a sign, guys. It's as simple as that. If a guy tells you or asks you, oh, are you going to do bodybuilding? No, I'm going to do men's physique. Is that not enough of an indication to show you, like, guys, let's get stupid conditioned. Shape yourself into the sculpture that you're supposed to be. You don't need to be as big as a guy on the open stage.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you. I just want to touch on this quickly because I want to go back to Miki because we want to speak about the IBFF because he's on here. So
Yeah.
About him as much as we can. I agree with you. I'm just what I also understand and just looking at how the results because I'm not really, like I said, I'm not really into men's physique and I haven't worked with so much of them to understand, but just watching it and understand and just picking up the trend of how the judging is working. Hugo just basically summed everything up. But what I can ask you guys the question: what is a streamlined physique? If you look at every day to day, what is a streamlined physique? It's a model, right? So as far as I can understand, when it comes to NPC, this is why I want to speak about NPC. How I understand their criteria when it comes to men's physique. Yes, they want that streamlined body. They want that streamlined look. They want the model look, but they want a muscle model look. So in terms of muscle, if you look at a normal model, male model, what do you see? Chest, shoulders. They're not really worried about the arms. So that's why I can understand. I can make this now, this argument, or not argument, but justification why Aaron Banks won at the Olympia and why he's going to win, because he's got that streamlined physique. Yes, he's big in the right areas because it looks like a model. If you put him in clothes, he's going to look like the everyday model that you see. Obviously, just look a little bit bigger. So as far as I understand, NPC, what they're looking for is that model look, but obviously a bigger model, but big in the right areas, more of the shoulders, less arms, and obviously the back and conditioning obviously is important. And the reason why they want the model look, yes, they want to keep it the model look, but you have to have muscle because it's a bodybuilding show at the end of the day. It's like because bodybuilding is basically a glorified beauty pageant at the end of the day.
100%. I think
That's as far as I understand. That's why. But before, like I said, I wanted Miki to explain his side of because obviously it has to be a little bit different just by looking at what the guys that's winning the shows, just the results of it. Obviously, it isn't much pro shows that we see happening on social media, but just what we see from the local guys winning now at the World Cup, at the provincial shows, and this pro diva models that you guys have running. So we just understand that how you guys operate when it comes to men's physique, and obviously you said bodybuilding is bodybuilding, but yeah, just to give us a bit more depth in how you guys judge, and obviously if there is that split between muscle model or muscle physique and normal physique, and how they differentiate.
Look, it's basically the same like the NPC, but it's not exactly the same like the elite pros, because the elite pros is more, how can I say, they're more toned down and
like a
more
beach body.
soft. Yeah, like beach bodies, and more toned down like beach body. Look at PCA. PCA have your beach body, PCA have your muscle physique, and PCA have your men's physique. That three categories is totally round down very good, because your muscle model is more bigger and fuller. You will know that. I think you stood into muscle model, if I'm correct.
No, with a bodybuilder.
Muscle model. But yeah, men's physique is also in between, borderline between muscle model and men's physique and beach model. Beach model is more soft and thinner, not too muscular or not too hard, but you need to be more definition shredded. Now the same by us at IBFF, it's in between, borderline. You see, so you don't need to be, you can't be too big, because then that's basically athletic, classic, or bodybuilding. It's going to be unfair, because too big, you don't look, like you said, you don't look like that specific model. And you can't be also too tight or too shredded, because as you see a model every day on the beach or wherever he walks, he's not too shredded. He doesn't look like he's like 2 days out, like, you know, or something like that. So it's basically more normal, but you need to have your ratio well balanced, like your torso, your core, your side, like Hugo said, if you turn around, your waist needs to like disappear.
Yeah.
So nowadays it's all about that V shape as well, and your waist needs to be like very small.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. My opinion on physique is like, what is the best looking, like, you know, what's the best looking body on the beach? I know it's like a weird way to put it, but like, you know, what's also like, hey,
What's up?
what's up?
Okay.
Yo, what's happening, Miki?
All good, bro. All good.
Lekker, man. What's up, Achi? What's up, Igu? Bro, wait, this thing is
boy?
what's happening?
Rotate your screen there, bro.
How do I
Blayne, will you turn your?
I think that's rotation thing coming at again.
Yeah, it's that thing.
Miki, on this topic of federations, how do you think so many federations affects bodybuilding in our country? Since we don't really have a big community of bodybuilders, how do you think it affects us having 3-4 federations in the country?
I think it affects everyone a lot. My personal opinion. It confuses coaches and athletes as well. And I think if everyone can just drop the ego and come together and have a good understanding and play along for everyone, play along for the athletes as well, and not just for the business. You understand? I think it's just yeah, yes, it's money as well, and it's totally fucked up as well, because they are fighting like literally like kids, which is just
Yeah,
messed
I
up.
mean, every president of every federation hates the other one, and then there's all this fucking politics involved and stupid shit. It's like we're talking about all the different like categories and stuff. You would think they would come together and be like, listen, if they weren't just trying to fucking make money and you know, like some of them are, they come together and say, listen, let's streamline this thing and say, okay, this is the criteria for this is the criteria for that. Because you have let's say 10 guys, they all train for physique and they compete in the NPC, they don't like it, and now they've got to change their whole you know, they've got to change their physique probably, they got to do all this shit just to get into, if they're going to do another federation. I don't know. That doesn't make too much sense to me, you know?
Because that's
You're 100%. You're 100% right, but I don't think that will change. I don't think that
No,
will change.
they definitely won't.
Because men's physique is very tricky into each and every federation, and as a coach, if you coach and guide your athlete for that specific federation, and you have a mindset of Federation A, and you are competing in Federation B, and you don't know what the heck is going on, like the criteria, you will be fucked, because then your athlete won't place at all, because then they tell you athlete is too hard. Then you scratch it like, why the fuck my athlete looks like he looks good? Why is it too hard? Why is it too ripped? Why is it too shredded? What do you guys want? Then you go into a next federation and you do it softer, and then they say, no, I don't want it softer. I want it more.
Yeah.
I want to move around. So they're actually fucking everyone around. But I think that won't change. Reason why I say that, it's because the head of federation, the top guy of federation, they are making the changes, and they want their criteria to way the federations needs to be run. So we as the puppies, we can't actually change that. You understand? But what my side, I can only speak for my side, I do fight for that. To be honest with you, I do fight for that, and if we come to our AGM meetings every year, then I do play my part and play my role and do my say and say, look here, why do we always need to make changes every year? You understand? We can't make changes every year into criteria, because then athletes and coaches are going to say, but last year you said this. Why now you changing the criteria? So for me, it's best as a coach, and for a coach, is best to, if your athlete going to compete in IBFF or NPC or Elite Pro, ask that questions first before you go ahead coaching your athlete. You understand?
So you're saying, okay, speaking out of IBFF now, we can't speak for other federations. Are your guys' criteria changing? Is your head of your federation changing criteria?
No. We're not changing any criteria, because men's physique stay men's physique. Classic stay classic, bodybuilding stay bodybuilding, and so on with the female as well. We're not changing any men's physique at all.
That's good. Sorry, don't want to interrupt. Blayne, did you manage to? I'm just trying to check here. When you guys see Blayne's screen, is it just like this?
Yeah.
Did you manage?
Rotation.
I thought it was just me. I'm like, oh fuck, I don't know.
Also, like when setting dates for shows, like I mean, we sat in the predicament like in the beginning of the year, especially now, like in Cape Town. In Cape Town, we can be honest that we're not really the biggest province when it comes to bodybuilding. I mean, we have we have four, I think 4 or 5 federations in Cape Town. So we sat in a predicament where there was three different shows on the same day. Like this one, what I understand is how, like, who picks the dates for the shows, and it's like, okay, like I can take my hat off now to Kevin because Kevin moved Titans to a week earlier.
Show you.
Obviously, for the reason being 3 shows being on one day. Like, what's your thought on that and on how dates are being set? And I mean, surely there must be some sort of communication. I mean,
To the federation.
Yeah, that's actually a great question.
No, that's a good question. That's a good question, and it's going on for very long. Look, sometimes we can't control what we set forward. You understand? We don't know what's going to happen, so it's hard for us. It's easy to book the venue, but it's hard to get another venue or another placing. As you can see, he changed like PCA. He changed his date, but the venue has changed as well.
okay, I didn't know that one. I didn't know that.
Yeah, you understand, but it's quite difficult. Sometimes we don't know whether that federation put that show the same time. If everyone can sit down together and say, look here, I'm hosting my shows. Like I do communicate with some federations. I'll say it straight. I'll do communicate with the neighbors and the non-affiliated shows and stuff like that, because I don't want to clash with that dates. The reason why our dates clash is because, like you said, communications, lack of communication, but it's also the ego between and the rivalry between federations. Like one federation don't like the other federation or whatsoever. But that's just plain politics. That's just plain politics. But now do take my hat off for Keith for back down moving his show backwards, because I also wanted to move my show because I saw that there's 2 shows on the 29th of July, but I could not move my show because I don't have any venue again, because all the venues are booked. Because we book our venues a year in advance already. You understand? It's quite difficult to say that, okay, there's going to be a show on that day. The only time when you know that there's a show on that day when there's a poster coming out. You get what I'm saying? So if there's national poster coming out, then that one federation can see, okay, they are hosting a show on this X date, so let's do a show on another date.
So it looks like the shows. I mean, all the shows were announced more or less around the same time. I think PSA was the first one to release their dates, if I'm not mistaken. Well, I don't know if it was you guys that released the dates first.
Our show was first, like the national shows was in January already, and our national poster went out already, and it went out.
So it was like 3 days after each other, like all the federations released their shows the day for the year.
I'm sure they do that on purpose.
Because yeah, like in my opinion, it's like a massive battle between. Also understand like especially we have to be like, I mean, it's called the black and white podcast, so we're gonna call the thing black. If it's black, we're gonna call it black. If it's white, like we know it's expensive to compete in the NPC. We know it's expensive to watch their shows. I know it's not the promoter's fault. Everybody blames the promoters. Now they want to make money, blah blah blah. But if you look at it deeper, especially if you're an athlete, you understand that you're competing when you're paying for your registration and stuff. You're actually doing it in dollars. Because remember, these promoters, they have to pay license and stuff to host these shows and stuff. So they're actually not working in rands. Yes, it's conversion into rands, but they're actually paying dollars to compete in the federation, because it's a worldwide federation.
Yes.
But it is, in my opinion, where the biggest struggle is like the quality of athletes. I mean, obviously, it's sad to see, like, I mean, there's a lot of athletes that come out of the townships that don't have the funds to compete in big shows like that. And especially not even guys that come out of the townships. I'm talking about other guys as well. I mean, they just don't have the funding to. I mean, prep on its own is expensive already, and then you still have to register, tan, food, and then etc., on show day. So when it kills the thing where like you see guys, especially in the smaller federations like the IBFF, like quality guys, not be able to compete in bigger shows like that. But whereas this is where I feel like if federations can communicate on dates, like listen, okay, where this is when our shows are running, because I mean, sponsors attend are watching shows. I mean, I'm very sure there is sponsors watching the shows. So if they do see a quality athlete in a smaller show and think, wow, this guy can go the distance, or this girl can go the distance, surely they will, or maybe they'll have the opportunity to maybe get the funding from sponsors and do a bigger show. That's if they aspire to going to the bigger federations. And obviously, the only reason why, in my opinion, if your goal is to go to the Olympia, there's only one route to the Olympia. Then you have to make it a priority to compete in the bigger federations. But that doesn't mean they should be penalized if someone decides, okay, listen, like for my example, a good athlete competes in IBFF or PCA and they do extremely well, a sponsor picks them up and they go compete in the bigger federation, and then politics happen. Oh no, this guy competed there, so we can't reward him. I haven't seen it happen in IBFF or PCA, but I mean, we see a lot of the politics, like good guys, especially most of the trends happened especially when the NPC came out and IFBB Elite was there. We had good guys that came from it was competing in PCA and stuff like that, went over to IFBB Elite. Guys that, I mean, deservedly should have won shows and didn't win shows because they competed in other federations. Stuff like
Did
that. So
that happen to Tristan van der Bijl?
No. That's a different story.
Yeah, look,
Yeah.
I was thinking now because I remember that situation was also fucking
So
a bad
his
hectic.
situation, if you want me to speak on that situation, his situation was in South Africa's NPC rules is you have to do a regional. If you're a South African citizen, you have to do a South African regional. Then you can go and do a pro qualifier anywhere in the world. So that's also like it's a miscommunication between where South Africa's NPC, the South African NPC and the international board. I think that's where the miscommunication was. That show was open to everybody. They advertised it as, listen, anybody can come from anywhere, you can do the show and so on. And as far as I understood, Tristan was in Dubai at that time, prepped in Dubai, and then went to that amateur Olympia. I think it wasn't in Vegas. I think it was in Orlando. And he got there, and then obviously when he registered or went to go check in, they said to him, listen, now where's your regional pass? Which is whereas it should have picked up already when he registered online that he should have like, listen, where's your regional qualification? So I think that where the stuff up was. But I mean, Candice did. I can vouch for that because I competed that year. I was in in the group. They have said it multiple times that if you're a South African resident, you have to do a regional to be able to do any pro qualifying in the world.
It's funny how stories go around, eh? Because this is probably like the fifth different story that I've heard.
Listen,
And it's like the ones that complete opposite, and then it's fucking, it's crazy. I mean, that makes sense to me. I mean, that would make sense. You have to do it, like even when you compete, if you got to get the regional qualifier, and then you can only do the pro qualifier. It's pretty simple. My only thing is what you said about obviously like paying in dollars and stuff. I mean, that makes a lot of sense, and that's why it's expensive. But my problem is if this is all all working in dollars, and it's obviously that's the way it is. Why aren't the shows out of this world?
Yeah, because people that's the thing is, I mean, when it comes to money, people are always like, hey, they're always gonna back off when it comes to funding. But yes, meaning like why is the shows not like run properly and stuff like that? Like, what do you mean by is out of this world? Like, what do you mean? Like the shows is in athletes are not out of this world, or like the production of the show?
No, not that. Not definitely not the athletes. I think we all know why. You know, I mean, but with regards to the actual production of the shows. Now, I've been to, the IFBB elite shows. I've been to NPC shows. I've been to IBFF shows. What I'm saying is, you would think that the pinnacle of the sport, which is the NPC, that's the only way you get to the Olympia. The quality of the shows and like the way it's run and the whole lot would be on a completely different level and far more superior than these other, the other federations. But in my experience, it's been the complete opposite of that. Like, anyway, I'll just if I could say it. At the end of the day, every IBFF show that I've been to has blown those shows out of the water completely. Maybe not the quality of athletes, but we obviously know why, because the best athletes want to do it so they can get to the Olympia or get their pro card, whatever it is. So we understand that, but the actual quality of the shows, I don't know. That's strange to me.
Miki's done NPC shows before he joined the IBFF. I mean, before COVID, I think the shows were. I'm speaking now in terms of NPC. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like straight. Like the shows before COVID in the NPC the standard was great. It was by the look of it. I only did one NPC show before COVID, which was the first Eye Candy in Cape Town. I think Miki did that show as well. I remember he did it as well.
Yeah.
The show was, for me, it was a top-notch venue.
Yeah.
They had international judges even at that show. They had a pump-up area. Everything was solid. Looking at the pro qualifier that year, I didn't make it to the pro qualifier that year. Just watching it on the live stream, it looked solid, but it just looked like everything was backed up. Like, the ran late. I was trying to watch the overalls, and they only did the overalls like at 1 o'clock in the night or something like that.
Was that the big man?
Yeah, there was the big man. There was
I
a big.
was there as well. I competed in the big man.
Yeah, so Miki can speak on how the quality of that. The quality of, like, if I can speak, because I've done PCA, I've done IFBB Elite before NPC came around. The IFBB shows were always run solidly. I mean, if you look at back in 2016, 2015, I mean, okay, the sport was much bigger in that time. I mean, we had like solid lineups in every lineup, every category. We had solid lineups. We had stacked shows. The sport was popular. Obviously, COVID came around and a lot of people lost their thing. PCA shows was fantastic. I mean, their shows were always, for me, it was always about entertaining. That's what it was about. I started at PCA. I love the show. I love the way they run the shows. I've even been into, like, look, I mean, I've been to PCA's British finals. Like, I promise you, state of the art stuff. Like, I mean, they had people backstage. Like, if you were sweating, they had people there towering you down. They had people walking around handing out waters. They had like a full-on gym in the back. So
Yeah.
their shows are fantastic. So I think it's just a matter of also like people finding their feet again after COVID, especially promoters. I've only been to one IBFF show, which was held here in Sea Point.
Yeah.
That was 2021. Yeah, and it was a fantastic show as well. Yes, it wasn't like a long show because obviously it wasn't so much athletes, but it was a good show. It was run well. And just watching, I watched the World Cup as well that year. It looked fantastic.
No, the World Cup was amazing. Like, there were so many athletes. I also want to jump on a topic about federations where there's so little athletes into lineups, where it's totally like just an athlete off because you're tipping so hard, jumping against either no athletes or 1 or 2 athletes. So in the IBFF, I can speak upon the IBFF and stuff like that, but in the IBFF, I've actually never seen that before. Because if you come to the World Cups and stuff like that, I mean, you will get like 37 to 40 athletes in the lineup. It's huge, it's massive. That's massive. So nowadays you don't see that at all into bigger shows, and which is quite sad. Which Achmat said, we have so much quality into these townships and stuff like that. And I think that is where the IBFF have a strong point, because they actually take those athletes. So we have someone that we like basically employ and go into that townships and sponsor those athletes. Like in 2021 and last year, we sponsored about say 18 athletes. They didn't have money, they didn't have free food, they didn't have protein, they didn't have anything. But to get that athlete's foot into the door and onto stage make me happy and make me proud. So you understand? Because from an athlete's perspective and from an athlete's background, it is hard. It is hard and it's tough and it's expensive to compete. So to get those athletes from those townships and just to support them and show them, look here, you can do this. You understand? You can do this, and to put them on stage is quite big.
You see, that's awesome. Like that in my mind, that's the way like should be done. You know, especially in this country, you have these guys that don't they don't have 2 cents to rub together, but they got amazing physiques, and you go out and you spend the money on these guys and help them out. You never know what you're gonna find. You might find the most talent ever, or the craziest bodybuilder, whatever it is. My problem is that, at the end of the day, in my personal opinion, I think you can't compare. And I'm not just saying this because I know Miki, and Miki's been my boy for long now. You can't compare. In my opinion, you can't compare a few things. For me, every show I've been to for the IBFF has been better by a long shot. I'm comparing it to the NPC. You're not just a number. That's the other thing. The people that are running the show actually look after you. If you've got something wrong, they'll actually come and help you. If you actually speak to someone, they actually care about you. That's one thing. That's different. You're not going to be paying an arm and a leg. I understand that's just the thing, whatever. But I'm just naming a few points here. I mean, you look at like Arnie and Tracy. Just I could go speak to them and say, listen, whatever, can we do this or whatever? Or I've seen athletes ask for help and they get help. That's the difference. And I personally, if my goal wasn't to go to the Olympia, if that's not your goal, if my goal wasn't to go to the Olympia, but just I love competing, there's no ways I would go the other way. Never.
No, 100%. Like, I mean, let's say, but like I always say, when people come, especially when guys come join me to compete, I always find like what is your goal? Like, what do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? I don't pick the federation for my athletes. Anyone who joins me, I don't pick the federation. They decide which federation you're going to compete in. I study the criteria and get you ready for the show. So in my opinion, yes, there's a federation for everybody. Like I said, if you don't want to go if your goal is not to go to Olympia and you just enjoy competing, you love being in shape, you love entertaining, that's you into the lifestyle, then by all means, there's other federations. The IBFF is there, PCA is there. The only thing for me is what the shows being put on the same day. Because it's hurting the sport. Because I mean, even if you're not competing in a show or you're a coach, you want to attend these shows and support, because I mean you love the sport. That's how I feel like it's damaging the sport, by people coming in and watching, supporting, and that's how the sport's going to grow. I mean, if shows were done on different days, When there's a show in Cape Town, I go to the show. If I'm not competing, I go and watch the show. Love to see the guys do their thing, and see. I mean, it's entertaining for me. I find it entertaining. I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there that will do the same thing. It's not like well, that's federation. I'm not gonna go watch it. But in my case, I mean, I'm stuck between two. If there's two shows on the days, for instance, um, there's an NPC show on one day, and there's a IBFF show on one day. I'm gonna go to the NPC show because I compete there. I want to see the best of the best. I mean, the best guys are gonna compete there. The people that want to go to Olympia is gonna want to compete. I'm not saying that the guys who compete in IBFF is not as good, but I'm just saying that if I had to pick between the two and the shows were on the same day, I would go to the show where I feel the guys are gonna be battling it out because they want to go for high honors at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I have to put one thing out there.
Hugo, you still here?
I'm listening to the boys. The one thing I gotta say is that regarding especially the fees that you need to pay as an NPC athlete compared to the other federations, and the fact that how Miki said how the IBFF has this wild card by the fact that they can reach and even sponsor the guys that just can't afford it. Now, here's my thing that I think of. Brazil. Brazil is not, you're going to have a small portion of guys that can afford whatever they want. But the majority of Brazil, the guys live in the slums. They live in the favelas. I mean, look at a very, 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 very well-known guy, Ramon Dino. The guy was living in the favelas. He was pretty much, I'm sorry, I'm going to say it, like, it kind of looked like he was going in the wrong direction, even if you look at his old photos when he was still like a teenager. Now the guy ended up as freaking chasing out Breon and Terrence and Urs. He's fighting and battling it out with Chris. If it's not him, we're talking about Rafael Brandeo, and who is top 10. Like, look at that guy's structure and what he's able to do. Look at in men's physique at I think it's Montenegro is his surname. He has this crazy V taper in men's physique. He's also like the top 5 or something. Cake Pro. I mean, I can go on and on about the Brazilians, but the big thing that I'm trying to put here is that those guys, the Brazilians, are more than any other country crazy and super passionate about and they have this crazy amazing talent that they're able to portray and show on the Olympia stage now. I'm guessing that Tarek Algundi and the rest of the guys in Brazil are helping them to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Now, something else that I want to mention is that, so I don't know how they financially am able to get that, but I'm talking about the potential that they have and what they're able to do coming out of those difficult circumstances. How many times have we seen these guys in Northern Africa training with literal cement weights? They barely have enough money just to buy the protein and the food that they need, let alone if they even have gear, if they even have money or even know where to get it. These guys look rounder than most guys on 2-3 grams of tren. Like, these guys are genetic anomalies, but we know that they don't have the financial capabilities of paying for these things, just being able to enter these shows. Who are the top 2 guys that we have spoken about most lately about being such a wow factor in open bodybuilding? Andrew Jacked and Samson Dauda. What are their origins? Nigeria.
Yeah, of course.
So my thing is that, and everybody, the whole world knows, and it's no secret, the whole world knows that Africa as a continent is lacking and financially. Africa is always going to be the last one coming in trying to get financial support to be able to do things, whether it be sport, business, whatever the case may be. They don't have that. Now, my question is why, and especially now with, currencies, the one being more than the other one, Africa is not the richest, does not have the richest currencies. So again, we're already on the back foot. So now you not only give us the exact same price as the rest of the guys in the world, the guys in the US, the UK, and so forth, but you're also expecting guys to pay basically double, triple the amount that the countries that the UK, I mean, guys like in the UK, they're even paying less than the guys in the US. So why is it that the African countries now all of a sudden like, oh no, it's okay. We know you've got the craziest, most amazingly genetically gifted guys, but we don't care about you. We don't want more amazing guys at the Olympia. We don't want to make it more stacked. Like, that's where the IBFF and all the other federations are winning, because they're able to at least give the guys the chance to step on stage. These guys don't have the money to step on stage, let alone the rest of the prep. And I think that's where the NPC and the IFBB are failing massively. Like, they want the sport to grow, not making it exclusive.
Yeah,
it's a hard topic to cover, because it's like, is it because bodybuilding isn't mainstream enough for them to spend that amount of money? Is it them being selfish? I don't think so, because if they went and found these people and brought on people, on more guys, they'd have more of an audience, they've had more athletes. I don't know. It's tough.
You think about it as like a business person. It's like you weigh out your risks. Because obviously you're taking money out of your pocket, so you have to see it as, is this going to be a lucrative investment for me to put this money down on this guy or this athlete, or is it going to pay dividends at the end? That's where it's going to come down to.
Like, the whole fact of like sponsoring guys, like that's a very big privilege to be able to do for those guys. But what I'm basically just trying to get at is just lowering, because if you're just lowering the price, if it's possible that you could lower the price, whether it be 30%, whether it be 50%, the thing is that immediately, because you're lowering it just that little bit extra, you're able to get more feet.
And you get volumes, and you probably end up with the same amount in the bank at the end of the day.
That's a very interesting thing that you're talking about. This I think we can talk about have a podcast about this as a topic about sponsors, because now we're sitting here with a business owner who has sponsored athletes, so we can talk about this on another day as well. Like how, I mean, I've never been sponsored, like in my whole bodybuilding career. I've never had not one sponsor, and like sponsors is different compared to when I started bodybuilding. Like when I started bodybuilding, guys were getting sponsored when they win shows and stuff like that. That's where they were getting sponsors from. Nowadays, it doesn't matter what show you win or whatever. It's all about the social media, how much followers you have. So that's the thing, is where we need to speak about sponsorships or so. Like how sponsors can help. I mean, we are setting the business.
That can be our next topic, sponsorships.
I understand, like when it comes to sponsoring someone, it's not just a one-way thing. It's like what you're going to get in return. I know it's a business deal at the end of the day.
100%.
I think we can have another topic, because we haven't gotten into any of the Q&As. I don't know if there's any questions.
Yeah, there was a few questions, but I think that was it was good that we dove quite deep into that. Yeah, but I think it's a good idea. We definitely speak about that next time. I think it's you made a good point about it is a value exchange at the end of the day. It's not like unless you're sponsoring the guy, with money, and not just saying, listen, if you don't have the money, that's a different story, and I love to do that, if the person's going to put in the work and like actually do the thing. But look, we can definitely get into that. We can definitely get into that on the next one. Look, Blayne was in for about 6 seconds. Guys, he's gonna need a give him a fine, eh?
And I just want to say something on Hugo's topic about lowering that funds and stuff like that for the athletes or whatsoever. That is a brilliant idea. Myself, what I've learned from the IBFF, and I've learned a lot from Arnie and Tracy, and they showed me the ways and stuff like that. I just need to change my ways, and that's why I stay away from politics. Politics is fucked up everywhere. What we do in Cape Town as the IBFF is spray tan is always expensive, right? Entry fee is expensive. Everything is shit expensive. What we also do is we lower that prices as a development athlete. You understand? So if a development athlete, the first time athlete comes in, we sit down with that athletes way before the show already, and we discuss a personal fee. As you can see on our social media, you will see into our spray tanning. We're sponsored by Go Brown Spray Tan, our athletes. As you can see, there's a development package. It's about, I think it's about 200 Rand, 250 for a spray tan. I mean, that's a fully spray tan. Some of the athletes still don't have their packages. So what we do, we collect like spray tan cans, and we buy at clicks for this game and stuff like that, and we give it for those development athletes.
That's
because
so
we want the proper tan as well for those athletes. I know it's not going to look the exact same like Go Brown, and that's why we ask Go Brown, and we negotiate with our vendors and say, look here, this is how the development athletes, can you guys do something towards them? So Go Brown events have a package where there's, I think, 150 Rand or 180 Rand for a self-tan. So you can self-tan yourself as well. And we also have those packages. A lot of athletes come to me and say, look here, Miki, I don't have money, but I would love to compete. I said, brother, come to the show. We can have a chat. Don't worry about the money as long as you get your physique on stage.
No, that's fantastic. That's a fantastic thing. It's a phenomenal thing to hear that from you and from your guys. And that's just a way of giving back to the sport, and it shows that you guys love the sport.
Yeah,
you'll be rewarded for it.
Look, a lot of athletes and a lot of coaches and a lot of people won't see that ways. We don't put that on social media because it's just boost video. You don't need to do that. It's just you need to be there for the athlete. We can't be there for all the athletes, but we can be there for the athletes that reach out to us and say, look here, we need help. Like the last World Cup, we had athletes that went to the World Cup, that qualified here by the Cape Classic and went over, and they did not have a cent. And I said, look here, sit down. Do you want to go compete in Joburg? They said, yes, they want to. Let's sit down, see what we can do, what's cheaper for you to go down. I had an athlete, he was so young, he was 18 years old, and he traveled by bus. You asked me, look here, he wants to sleep outside the venue. I said, no, bro. I had to make sure that some of those athletes that wanted to sleep at the venue had a place to stay. It doesn't matter how much it costs, but just compromise. Because we got athletes in one chalet that a lot of athletes shared a chalet, like 6 athletes, and we had to pay for it. We had to pay, it comes from our pocket, because those athletes really want to stand on bigger stages and want to feel how it is on bigger stages. I come from an athlete background where I had no support at all. No support from family, no support from friends, because they did not believe that I will make it at all, because I know where I came from, and why can't I give back to the other athletes that are struggling? Because I know times are tough, There's a lot of my athletes like saying, Miki, why are you giving this to me for free? I'm saying, no, it's not for free. I'm just giving it to you because I know it's expensive. a tub of protein is what, about $700 to $900. I'm giving it for you because I know you want to achieve something. It's not about the money. You don't need to give me money. I don't want money.
Mm.
You see, so we all need to stand up and we all need to see and put the foot in the door for other athletes, no matter what federation. I have athletes that come to me and say, look, they want to compete in that federation. I know you with the IBFF. I said, it doesn't matter if I'm with the IBFF. It's up to you where you want to compete. It's
Yeah.
totally up to you.
See, but that's the difference. That's the difference I see, you know.
Solid.
But anyways, how long do you think we've been going for? I bet you none of you will get it right.
But
We can still go on.
Yeah,
Longer.
okay, yeah. A bit longer, yeah. Hour and 10 minutes. Crazy shit. And yeah, so look, I don't know what happened to Blayne. Blayne said his connection cut out. I don't know. But anyways, boys, thanks for another week. That was power.
That was
Absolute power.
no questions, no Q&As. Didn't get any questions.
We got, look,
Yeah,
I got
you can run through it.
Run through quickly.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, there is 1, 2. Oh, we actually already went through the federation. So then there's, okay, we can answer these two good ones. Okay. Best coaches in South Africa. Top 5 best coaches in South Africa.
That's a tough one to ask when you need to speak, like you have to answer on either result or knowledge. So
Yeah, I mean that's a tough one. There's so many running through my mind now. What I think to myself.
And these smaller coaches nowadays, like seriously a lot.
yeah, you're getting guys that do one show than the coaches. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a hard one to answer, bro. And then I got a weird one. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't even understand what the comparison is. Yeah. Literally, the question is CrossFit or arm wrestling. Well, I mean that makes no fucking sense at all. I'll just say arm wrestling, obviously.
I don't know. That person smoking.
Yo, bro. I looked at this and I'm like, that's why I'm not mentioning names because they're gonna get fucking hell.
Is that the 2 goodies you had? Just got a question here. Thoughts on the William Bonner Classic? The results has been released. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
I didn't dive too deep. Yeah, no, I actually don't know.
It was a Morna Hugo show.
Yep.
Achmat, how many athletes was?
I don't know how much athletes were in total. It didn't look like a big show. It's difficult. You should know. I mean, to host shows this early in the year, especially in the country, it's difficult. I mean, you're not going to get big turnouts. But like I say, my thoughts. I'll just answer that quickly. It was a Morna Hugo show. There was one other guy that looked fantastic as well. I think it was his first show. I think he did a novice show. It was a novice guy. I think Warren, the mad scientist, was his coach. He looked solid. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm not gonna butcher it.
Yeah, he actually come from Cape Town.
Ah, cool. Okay.
Yeah, he's a salesperson at Planet Fitness. I know him very well.
I was just to finish off, actually talking about Mornay. I was at I was at a show. I think it was the Eye Candy, and he was backstage and about to get his tan or whatever. And he came there and he's like, okay, calling on all the one guy said, okay, all the novices come here. And it's like everyone's just like skinny and whatever. And then Mornay's behind us and we all look at him like, bro, what the fuck are you doing here? Everyone looks at him and is like, what the fuck are you doing here? He's like, no, it's my first show. We're like, oh fuck, we got no fucking chance. But he smoked the show, eh?
Yeah, he looked phenomenal.
Right there.
Good on him. I dig him. He's a good oak. Okay, sure. What's the time? 9:30. Shit. Boys, I'll see you next week. I think it's a good idea. We can definitely cover some really cool shit next week. And for everyone watching, ask questions. Fucking hell. Get like 5 questions, but I mean, most of them are shit. So, anyways.
Comment section.
Yeah. Actually, that's actually a way better idea. Yeah, put the questions in this comment section for the following week. That's a good plan.
I think
Like,
questions.
subscribe, turn on the bell notification, drop the comments.
Yeah, all that.
Are you doing a closing thing for this podcast? Because I don't really watch this thing after you post it, to be honest with you.
Also didn't want like,
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
myself.
I don't like to listen to my own voice, so
Just press on it, press the like button, and then you can leave. It's cool.
Yeah,
But I'm the exact same. I'm the exact same. I don't like to listen to my own voice. I just,
I'm my face on top of it as well.
No, I also watched.
We gotta go check out those videos. We gotta go check them out.
100%.
Yeah.
Boys, you have to.
guys. So I chatted to Lyle. I actually have a dope location where maybe we can come one night or one afternoon or so on. We can come together and come to a location and do a live face-to-face podcast. If you guys,
I was actually planning on talking about that. I completely slipped my mind. So yeah, guys. So that I think that would be flippin' sick. You know, like do like a proper. I'll bring all the equipment and whatever, and maybe the only thing I'll need to organize is like just a better camera, just a proper camera. Got microphone sorted, you know, everything else sorted, and it's such a sick fucking venue. If we can organize that, you guys just let us know, and then maybe in the next month or so we go and do a proper live podcast. I think that would be fucking cool.
That would be awesome.
like maybe once a month, and then we just like touch on big topics.
Yeah.
Because how often are you in Cape Town now? Because you based in Josie.
No. I'm actually just up. I'm just up for the week. I'm living in Cape Town now.
Okay, no, that's awesome. In what area are you based?
Kells River.
Okay, yes. So that means
other
split out. Everyone is like.
Yeah, it's a bit spread out. But I'm sure if we plan in advance, then we can we can make it happen.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. Sounds dope.
Awesome, boys. Thanks a lot again. Sleep well, and I'll see you next week.
See you guys next week. Same
Cheers,
time.
boys.
Yes, guys.
Cheers.